Justin Mott here, and if you're new, my channel is dedicated to all things photography from the perspective of a full-time working professional photographer. And today, welcome to my On Assignment series where I share images from real-life assignments for various publications, but typically shot for the New York Times because that was my biggest client. I tell you the backstory of the assignment and hopefully teach you a thing or two about photography, or at least give you some insight into the life of an assignment photographer. Today's episode is brought to you by my friends over at WOTANCRAFT Bags, my go-to bags for adventure, street, travel, assignment photography, everything you can imagine. More on them later, but you can see my little collection behind me. So being an assignment photographer is kind of an odd job. You meet people and you're like immediately injected into their life. You tell their story through images. All this, of course, with their permission. I'm not a stalker, but you're there like intensely for a little bit and then you just sort of fly off, and most of the time, never to see these people or talk to them again, most of the time. So today I'll be sharing with you a story I shot on assignment for the New York Times home section. So each section of the New York Times has its own photo editor that hands out the assignment. So the story was about the intriguing world of high-end builders and designers who travel the world globally to exotic locations seeking like unique tiles, artifacts, decor, seeking to buy these things for their high-profile homeowner clients. So this story is from 2010, a throwback year when I was about 30 years old, starting my career. I was young, I was fresh, I had a full head of hair, starting my career in Southeast Asia as a freelance photographer, so don't judge me too harshly on the quality of work. I think I'm much better these days, but I was just starting off my career back then. So the article wasn't about one individual, but rather the world of these designers. However, they rarely have the budget to photograph everyone in the story, so they hired me to focus on one designer they wanted to tell the story through visually. His name was Fernando Sanchez. He was based in the US, and I was going to be shadowing him on a trip to Chiang Mai, Thailand, while he was shopping for a client for decor pieces for a $9 million home back in Miami. So here's how the assignment unfolded. The editor from the home section reached out to me via email asking for my availability and interest. He gave me a rough idea of what the story was about. I agreed because I love interior design. It's something I'm really into. I was also a freelance photographer starting my career, so I said yes to just about everyone and every assignment, and I never really said no to the New York Times back then, and even still to this day for the most part. And they pay a really bad day rate, I have to add, and it hasn't changed much through the years. So you might say, like, why do you still say yes? Well, really, it just came down to prestige and notoriety and how I could leverage that work into other jobs, because back then I was published by them. I typically get another assignment for another New York-based publication. So they paid me that aforementioned less than stellar day rate, plus my travel days, which come in at half the price of that day rate. Plus they pay for all your other expenses, so food, transport, lodging, etc. The plan was for me to travel there for one day, shadow Fernando for the next day, and then leave the day after. So it was a pretty quick one, really just a full day shooting in and out. And just a quick moment, guys, allow me to express my gratitude for today's sponsor, WOTANCRAFT. As you can see behind me, they've become my ultimate choice when it comes to camera bags, and I must confess, I've developed quite a fondness for their Pilot Series collection. I own the entire series. And sure, you can say, well, they're sponsoring you. You're supposed to say that. And maybe you know the team now. And yes, I do. They're great people. But before I knew the team, I knew the bags. I used them for many years before I knew any person, before I had any sort of affiliation with them at all. And I loved them then, and I love them now. And I've never had a more organic sponsor to work with ever than WOTANCRAFT Bags. Because honestly, when I found their bags, I was like, oh, I didn't know you could have like a cool looking camera bag. I thought they all had to be that like ballistic nylon low pro type bags, obvious camera bags. I thought that was like what you had to have, but no, you can actually have a beautiful, high quality and stylish bag at the same time. And that's what I feel that WOTANCRAFT is. So if you're interested in a new camera bag, check out the lineup using the affiliate link in the description box below, or just go visit them in Taiwan. Their store is really cool, and tell them I sent you. All right, back to the assignment. So I arrived in Chiang Mai, Thailand, a short flight passing through Bangkok from Hanoi, where I was based, where I'm still based to this day. The plan was to meet Fernando at his fancy hotel. Fernando was a different type of person, not big on phones or email. We arranged things through his assistant, and I planned to meet him at his hotel for breakfast, and we're gonna hit the ground running after breakfast. But it was stressful. I remember it being stressful because he isn't the type of guy to communicate consistently on phones or email. I did everything through his assistant, but I also like to, when someone's paying you, even though they don't pay me well, when someone's paying you to go on an assignment and travel somewhere, you want everything confirmed. And I didn't have confirmation. Like I had confirmation like a few weeks ahead of time, but I didn't have confirmation like the day before. I remember emailing the day before, hey, just a heads up, just a reminder, just to double check. No confirmation, so I just had to trust him, trust his assistant. But yeah, he was there and it all worked out fine. But I remember being super stressed. And I also remember looking at his fancy hotel and being like, wow, this is like really impressive. I was always on a little bit of a budget back then, so I didn't stay in like fancy hotels for the most part. Little did I know that I'd actually spend the next 10 years of my life photographing hotels like just as good as this, if not better. So that was kind of funny. We went to different temples for inspiration for him. We went to terracotta tile shops, went to giant outdoor areas with these huge structures and doors for sale. Like, these weren't the type of shops that your average tourist would visit because these things were just too big to take home. This was an entirely different world set up for people like Fernando who could and would ship containers of this furniture across oceans. It was like a whole other world he opened me up to. He was super active shopping, like somebody in a movie montage with an entourage following him, going around like, no, 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 yes, 2 of these, 1 of those, do you have that in a different color? Taking photos with little point and shoot digital camera for references to show his client. But most of it, he didn't actually need approval. You could tell. And obviously, if they sent him this far away, they trusted his taste. So I spent the entire day with him, just bouncing around, trying different angles, getting close, trying to shoot through things, trying to show the things he was buying, trying to show him walking past the things he might be interested in buying. I remember this whole world just being fascinating to me. I remember each shop we went to, you could tell that he was like the white whale. Each shop we went to, they were like so happy to see him, and a whole team would just follow him around with a notebook and just be writing it down. You could almost in the air, you could hear the cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Looking back on the images now, I haven't revisited this story in a long time. I definitely see portraits I should have taken. I remember back then I was like purely a reportage style photographer, just documenting things like as they unfolded and that's it. Now I always stop to find portraits when I get a chance. If I'm also critiquing myself, I say I shot a bit too wide back then. Definitely went through a 16-35 stage. I was shooting with a Canon 5D, a fixed 35, but also a 16-35 because at that time, I just remember shooting so much. I was shooting commercial, shooting weddings, I was shooting editorial. I was shooting what anyone would pay me to shoot, so I had like every single lens. I had a ton of different lenses and way too much gear. I went through that phase for a short period of time before I went back to my fixed lens phase because it just kind of made me a lazy photographer. Also critiquing myself, I also wish I had more variety. I seem to have the same distance between myself and the subject. Most of the time, I was using kind of the same tricks. But yeah, overall, I mean, for someone just starting out his career, I feel okay with that. I feel like the images have held up okay. The only real regret I have is missing like a perfect shot of one of the women's at the shop. Like they were following him around and shading him because it was a really bright sunny day with a pink umbrella. And right as I went to go take the shot, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome because like she's following him with the umbrella. There's another person with a notebook, and he's just got his scarf and his sunglasses and he's walking. And right as I went to take the shot, he turned, he's like, no, absolutely not. He's like, you're not making me look like a queen inside the pages of the New York Times. Like, not gonna happen. But I missed it. I would like to think now the 45-year-old version of Justin would have known, and he would have never known that I took the shot. We had a lot of laughs that day and had some great conversations with his assistant and with Fernando as well, learning about their work, learning about their world, and doing my best to not interfere with their actual work. I filed the images the next day. I'm pretty much aligned with the image my editor chose to lead the story with, which isn't always the case. There's a link to the full story in the description box below. You can check that out if you're interested in learning more about Fernando and his work, or more about this world, or seeing more pictures. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'd love to hear your feedback. It's inspired me to do more of these episodes. I have a whole archive to go through. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing, and don't forget to check out my online store at Ask Mott by Justin Mott for one-on-one online coaching open to all levels of photographers interested in all genres of photography. I've also got my December 2024 Northern Vietnam workshop open for registration. Check that out. I've also got presets that will not make you a better photographer, but they will add some pop to your images. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to have a wonderful day.